Held items were introduced to Pokemon in Generation 2, and they have been a great addition to the competitive scene. They provide effects that range from increasing attack, increasing speed, healing HP, being immune to certain moves, and much more. Unlike moves and abilities that are limited to the Pokemon that have access to them, items can be given to any Pokemon at any time, which is what makes their effects so flexible. Unfortunately, not all items were created equally, with Pokemon Showdown even referring to some of them as usually useless, and some have gone generations without any use or changes to their effects. So for this video, I thought it would be interesting to take a look at the worst competitive held items in the game and theorizing how we could fix them to be usable. I'm going to try to make their effects as balanced as possible, and will avoid just making them strict upgrades to existing items, and will be coming up with multiple rework ideas for some of them, so let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. First, we have the Utility Umbrella. This item was introduced in Gen 8, and it makes the holder unaffected by the effects of rain and sun. Specifically, the holder's abilities, the holder's self-targeting moves, and attacking moves that target the holder are treated as if there is no rain or sun at all. The holder's water and fire moves do still get a boost or drop in rain or sun, but they are not affected by the unique properties that some moves gain in rain or sun, like having perfect accuracy or bypassing a charge turn. My only question is, why does this item not work with sand or snow? The only practical use I could find for this item is when it's used as a counter to weather abusers, since the holder will not take weather boosted damage, just regular damage. Mons like Blissey and Weezing can use it to wall out Kyogre and Ubers. If it worked with all weather, so rain, sun, sand, and snow, that would give it some more use. Specifically, in addition to its current effects, it would also make the holder immune to the chip damage from Sandstorm, and the holder would be able to bypass the special defense boost that rock types receive in sand and the defense boost that ice types receive in snow. This would only affect opponents that the holder of the Utility Umbrella targets, so it would not just eliminate that special defense or defense boost entirely if targeted by other Pokemon that don't hold the umbrella. The immunity to Sandstorm also does not just make it a better version of the safety goggles, by the way, as that also has the effect of making the holder immune to powder and spore moves, an effect that the umbrella would not have. This would allow the Utility Umbrella to work more offensively to give it some more use. Next, we have the Cell Battery, Snowball, Luminous Moss, and Absorb Bulb. The Cell Battery and Absorb Bulb were introduced in Gen 5, and the Snowball and Luminous Moss were introduced in Gen 6. I'm grouping these four together since they are all items that increase a stat by one stage if a certain condition is met, and they are all bad for the same reason: the condition is way too situational. The Cell Battery increases attack when hit by an electric type move, the Snowball also increases attack but when hit by an ice type move, the Luminous Moss increases special defense when hit by a water type move, and the Absorb Bulb increases special attack when hit by a water type move. I think the effects are all fine, it's just the conditions that need some work. I came up with a few different ways that each one could be improved, so let me know which one you think would be best. For the Cell Battery, Snowball, and Absorb Bulb, instead of making them activate when the holder is hit by a move of a certain type, make them activate if the holder uses an attacking move of a certain type. So for example, the Cell Battery would increase the holder's attack by one stage when the holder lands an electric type attacking move. Now, I could maybe see this being a bit too strong because of how it compares to an existing item in the game, the Throat Spray. The Throat Spray increases special attack when the holder uses a sound-based move, which seems more specific and more niche of a use than just using a move of a certain type. But when taking a closer look, Throat Spray works for any sound-based move, while what I'm suggesting is just attacking moves of a certain type, and there are actually about the same number of sound-based moves as there are attacking moves of electric, ice, and water, so I think this could actually be balanced. Additionally, electric and ice are generally better special types, so I don't think that many physical attacking electric and ice types would even want to use these items, but it would be nice for them to have the option. Water is definitely better on the special side than electric and ice are on the physical side, so my idea, if you think this is too strong, is to make the boost only occur when the attack deals super effective damage on the target. If we made them like this, I think we could keep the original effect of getting hit by a move of a certain type too, allowing the stat boost to occur for either condition. My other idea involves weather and terrain, which is also where I'd like to discuss my idea for the Luminous Moss's effect. The Luminous Moss could work like the Terrain Seeds but for rain, meaning that it increases the holder's special defense when exposed to rain and is consumed after use. The reason that I didn't do the same thing for the other 3 items is that attacking stats potentially being able to be raised on switching from an item is too powerful. It is fitting that they all have a weather or terrain though, with electric having electric terrain, ice having snow, and water having rain. A way that I could see it working and being balanced is maybe if it takes a turn for them to activate, so they can't just activate on switching, and the boost would go away if the weather runs out or is overridden. I mainly just want to prevent Kyogre being able to get a +1 special attack boost on switching with access to Stab, Water Spout, and Origin Pulse. I'm interested to see which of these ideas you think would be the most interesting and most balanced, or if you have any other ideas, but overall, these items really need a rework if they want to be considered viable. Next, we have the Grip Claw and Binding Band. The Grip Claw was introduced in Gen 4 and the Binding Band in Gen 5, and I'm grouping them together since they both have an interaction with binding moves. Binding moves are moves like Whirlpool and Infestation that both trap the target and damage them by 1/8 of their max HP every turn for 4 to 5 turns. The Grip Claw increases the duration of binding moves from 4 to 5 turns to a guaranteed 7 turns, and the Binding Band increases the chip damage dealt by binding moves from 1/8 max HP to 1/6 max HP. These effects are both very underwhelming, and I struggled to find any practical use for either of them on Smogon or Picolytics because their effects just don't have high enough payoff to be useful. Here's what I suggest for both of them to hopefully give them some more use. For the Grip Claw, make it also boost the power and accuracy of binding moves by 10% each, in addition to increasing the turn duration to 7. Binding moves' main weakness is that they have low base power and are inaccurate, so a power boost, accuracy boost, and duration boost should make this item a little more usable. I don't think this would be broken since most binding moves are really weak and the strong ones are signature moves. This could also help patch up the low accuracy of these moves, but not entirely, as 85% accurate moves will only increase to 93% and 75% accurate moves will only increase to 82%. For the Binding Band, make it increase the chip damage of binding moves from its current 1/6 to 1/4, while making these moves last a shorter 3 turns instead of 4 to 5 turns. This way, the damage overall mostly remains the same, as losing 1/6 HP for 4 to 5 turns results in an average of 75% HP lost, the same as losing 1/4 for a guaranteed 3 turns, but the damage dealt occurs quicker and is more consistent. Limiting this to 3 turns also ensures that a Pokemon hit with this move cannot faint from the chip damage alone, as it will only deal 75% HP plus the small amount of damage the move dealt when it first connects. Next, we have all 4 berries that I ranked in the F tier of my berry ranking video, the Micle, Apicot, Ganlon, and Enigma berries. The Apicot, Ganlon, and Enigma berries were introduced in Gen 3, and the Micle berry was introduced in Gen 4. I'm willing to bet that 99% of you don't know what at least one of these berries do, because no one ever uses them. Let's go one at a time, starting with the Micle berry. The Micle berry increases accuracy of the holder's next move by 20% when its HP falls to 25% or below. Unlike a +1 accuracy boost that remains in effect for as long as the user is on the field, the Micle berry's accuracy boost is a passive 20% that only affects the next move you use. This is so specific that I cannot think of a genuine scenario where this item could actually be useful, since the Zoom Lens and Wide Lens exist. The Zoom Lens grants a 20% accuracy boost to the holder's moves if the target has already moved, so it could be good on slow Pokemon. The Wide Lens grants a no drawback 10% boost, which is in effect at all times. The Micle berry only increasing accuracy by 20% for one move when the user has lost 75% of their HP is just so specific. What I suggest is to change the accuracy boost from a passive 20% to a +1 accuracy boost. The way that accuracy stat boosts work is that it starts out at 3/3 and +1 increases the numerator by 1, resulting in a 33% or 1.33 multiplicative boost. This could actually be useful since a 33% boost would take any move 75% accurate and higher to 100%, like Sleep Powder and Iron Tail. 100% accurate sleep powders might seem broken, but most users like Lilligant want to hold other items like the Focus Sash, and remember, the activation condition is that the user needs to be at 25% HP or less, so that will probably only be 1, maybe 2 sleep powders. I might even go as far as changing the condition to 50% HP or less, or changing the effect to +2 accuracy, but either way, A passive 20% boost for one move is nothing. For the Ganlon and Apicot berries, they increase defense and special defense respectively by one stage when the holder's HP falls to 25% or below. The issue with these is that the activation requirement conflicts with the main reason that you would want defensive boosts. If your goal is increased survivability by boosting your defensive stats, losing 75% of your HP is not ideal because those defensive stat boosts don't really matter if you have such little HP left to make use of it. +1 defense or special defense is just not rewarding enough for losing 75% of your HP, so I would change both the effect and the activation property to +2 defense or special defense activating at 50% HP or less. That way, the loss of HP is less and is more rewarding to a user whose goal is increased survivability. For the Enigma berry, it heals 25% of the holder's max HP when hit by a super effective move. This berry is just a worse version of the super effective damage reducing and citrus berries because of the condition in which it activates. If you want to increase your survivability against a super effective attack, you'd much rather take half damage from that attack in the first place than heal back 25% of your HP after you've been hit, making the super effective damage reducing berries better in that regard. If you want to heal 25% of your HP, you would much rather have it activate once you lose 50% of your HP than when you get hit by a super effective attack, making the citrus berry better in that regard. To give the Enigma berry some kind of use over the other berries, make it heal 50% HP and make it activate after all hits from a multi-hit move, not after the first hit. Oh yeah, that's another issue with it. If you get hit by a super effective multi-hit move, you'll consume the berry after the first hit, so if that first hit deals less than 25% HP, you'll heal back less than 25% HP. Lastly, we have the ring target. This item was introduced in Gen 5, and it causes the holder to lose its immunities to moves based on its type. So if a flying type holds the ring target, it can be hit by ground type moves for neutral damage instead of being immune. This is a purely negative effect, but I do recognize that its use was probably made with the intention of it being tricked or switcherooed onto an opponent, so my rework idea will be made with that in mind. I think that the main issue of this item is that its effect isn't negative enough. Since the ring target only gets rid of the holder's immunities to moves based on its type, it will only affect 7 types: normal, ghost, flying, ground, steel, fairy, and dark, since those are the only types with immunities to other types. Some types have secondary immunities to certain moves or conditions, but this is not affected by the ring target. Because of that, there's 2 ways that I can see this item being useful. First being that instead of losing a type's primary immunity, ring target would cause the holder to lose its type's secondary immunity, aka the type's passive effect, like fire being immune to burn, electric being immune to paralysis, and ice being immune to freeze. This way, it would affect 11 types, not 7. My other idea is to keep the removal of a type's primary immunity, but then add on type immunities from abilities too, like Water Absorb and Sap Sipper. Let me know which one you think would be better. And that's how I would fix some of the worst held items in Pokemon. This video is purely theoretical, so let me know what you think of the reworks I suggested, how you would have reworked these items, and if there's any bad items that I missed that also need reworks. Anyway, if you want to support me and my channel, the best way to do so is just by leaving a nice comment. I do read all comments and will try my best to respond to as many as I can. You can also click the join button and become a member, and I made the cost as low as possible at 99 cents USD. Members get a badge next to their name and early video access. Keep in mind that these videos will be releasing on my normal schedule for non-members, so please don't feel obligated at all to join unless you really want to support me and you are financially capable of doing so. Huge thanks to all my members. I really appreciate your continued support for the channel. Likes are also one of the ways that YouTube determines if a video should be passed around to more people, so if you feel that this video deserves to be, I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching.